Betcha. Coach Barnes, thank you for coming. This is Richard Beene, your host
today, and excited about being here for another season.
Excellent. This is going to be your second season. Let's run this. I mean, we need to give Coach here some props here. All right. 2001 Naismith Coach of the Year, 2001 SEC Coach of the Year while at Ole Miss. Only person in SEC history to be named both All SEC as a player and SEC Coach of the Year. This guy played at Ole Miss. He had a terrific, and you took Ole Miss to the big dance a couple times, right?
Yeah, we did.
Now, how was that?
It was amazing. It was a great run. I mean, it was one of those things that, as a former alumnus there and being from the state there, it was huge because many people didn't think much about Ole Miss basketball. Back in the 60s and 70s, their football teams were great and won national championships. But basketball, to have a young African-American coach leading a team in the NCAA tournament and to say, hey, things have changed and be able to show that, that's one of my dreams and hopes here at Bakersfield, that one day we're in the NCAA tournament and we can talk about all the great things about this city on a national level, and people will get to know the people here and what we're all about here. So we got a lot of work yet to do, but we're excited about this process.
Yeah, during the drive and I give a lot of credit to President Horace Mitchell out at Cal State. This is one of his crowning achievements, I think, to take the athletic department to a D1 level. And I believe that was one of the arguments that you look at schools like Gonzaga. Who would know who Gonzaga is? A little Jesuit university in Spokane, Washington, with no football program. Very similar to here, but it's now everybody knows Gonzaga. And that's the kind of thing when you talk about bringing prestige to a university, fundraising, alumni commitment, that's part of the building block that you're involved in.
And I tell you, I think, and we realize as a program that we're somewhat of the open door, the doorstep of the university, because we get as much opportunities to represent this university on a national level all over this country, getting an opportunity to play on TV this year, playing some of the top teams in the West, on the West Coast. It just does something for you. And I know we'll talk a little bit about our trip to the Bahamas, but there were people from all over the world, and our guys walked around with, CSUB and Bakersfield on their jerseys, and people started inquiring, who are y'all, where y'all come from, who do y'all play, what about your school, tell us a little bit about Bakersfield. You can't buy that because no matter what you do, we're never going to have a poster board that's probably going to be in the Bahamas. But when you got guys walking around and representing our university and our community well, it just takes you to a whole different place. And again, there's some great people here. I've been here only for a year. I had a great experience. People in this country need to know the people, the community of Bakersfield, and we get a chance. And it's an honor to have the opportunity to put us on that kind of stage.
Hey, tell us about this trip to the Bahamas. How did that come up? And obviously your season hasn't started, so these aren't wins that mean anything, only in the sense of traveling and playing. How did this come about?
It's interesting you say that, Richard, because I'm trying to build a culture that, hey, we're playing pinocchles or we're playing kickball, we're going to try to win, but you're exactly right. The games don't count. And what happens is again, trying to give us more exposure. There was probably 30 teams this year that I know of that went and played during this time. And we got play on ESPN, on the news as far as the basketball columns, being a team that were going over there. So there's processes and steps that you want to make being a Division I program. It was the first time that Cal State had ever been on a trip like this. You go for a lot of different reasons. First of all, it gives me an opportunity to get our kids that haven't been exposed to another different culture, to let them know that the sky is really the limit if you do the right thing. So a lot of our guys are first generational guys in their families who go to college, so they expose them to something different is great. The other thing is we got a chance to practice for 10 days, and I got a chance to bring our new guys in. So because we start school in September, and most of the semester school starts in August, a lot of teams are ahead of us. So because we got a chance to go on this trip, we got a chance to start when everybody else started as far as practice. And we got a chance to look at our new guys during the practice I think the other thing is, and I said one of the big things, is just the exposure. You know, people asking you, being on blogs and people writing about it. You know, just trying to get our name out there. So when someone is at UCLA or USC or Cal and they say, hey, we went to the Bahamas or we went to Hawaii or we went to China, we did too. So we've done the same things that they're doing, maybe not at the level that they're doing it right now, but we don't want to be the ones that people are doing it from a recruiting standpoint or exposure for their program, and we don't have anything to say. I oftentimes say, and it's as I tell people, I'm very comfortable in their car though. I just want it packed. So it's not as big. We don't have to fly in the biggest plane, but we do want to have a nice plane. So that's what we're trying to build. And so when people try to hit us in recruiting or try to hit our university or try to hit our basketball program, we can answer them with those same things. So it got us a chance to get over there and we played, got a chance to get some rotations and do some things as far as.
What did you see in the team? What are you seeing at this early point?
We can score. I mean, that's one thing about it. We've got a lot of different options. Last year, Isaiah Grayson, who averaged about 10 points, and Stephon Carter, who averaged 12 points. Neither one of those guys.
Is Stephon a senior now?
He's a senior.
Yeah.
Neither one of those guys even played, you know, and then we were able to score a lot of points. My son, in the 2 games, he probably averaged about 26 points. We had another
Brandon
kid.
Barnes,
yes,
6'1" guard.
Guard, right. And Javante Maynard, kid that transferred from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, who sat out last year in 1 game. He had 35 points. And again, the competition is not the same here, but we have a team that's very capable of scoring a lot of points. And now we've got to do some of the other things. As I told them, we've got to rebound better, we've got to defend better. I like our team play. We've got good chemistry. That's probably been the biggest surprise for me, being a coach that have coached for 20 years, to put a team together last year and they play together and they like each other. That's something that a coach can't make happen. He can do some things to try to team build, but they have to do it themselves. And I like what I saw as far as that goes. We're a deep team. We got a chance to play probably 10, 11 guys. So I like where we are. I like where our program. I like our kids, and I like our future and what I think. It's a bright situation. We just got to keep it going.
I'm looking at your schedule. I want to talk a little bit about the schedule. And the first thing I noticed, we were talking during the break, there's a lot of teams that you would think would be natural rivals or potential rivals that aren't on there. Cal Poly, right. Cal State Northridge. Yeah. Why aren't they on your schedule?
I wish I knew. When we called them, last year again, during the year, we talked to all the little schools. Cal State Northridge. We talked to Cal Poly. We talked to Pacific. We talked to UC Davis. We talked to all of those teams because we want to play them. And during the season, there was a lot of talk, even some verbal agreements. And then as we continued to beat those teams and it kept going, they decided that they didn't want to play us this year. It was disappointing to me because those are natural rivalries. Mm-hmm. As we speak. Since we're not in a conference, to play Cal Poly, our people can drive there. Their people can come here. Northridge the same way. Fullerton did, and I'm really excited that they decided to play us. That's one team that started.
You'll see them January 9. Are you playing them twice?
We're playing them twice. Don't quite. And then I don't know whether the 2 dates. Oh, December the 6th is the other day, and January the 9th.
Right.
But they wanted to play. They've even talked to us about playing next year. Already, and that's what I thought coming in that most of those teams would do, especially when we didn't get accepted into the Big West. Right. I thought, hey, they would play us, but unfortunately it didn't. But we got some really good teams. Obviously for travel and financial reasons, you would like to stay local and then again build some kind of a following as you travel. But we've got some teams that are probably better teams that had better seasons last year. So it's another level. I mean, our schedule is a tough schedule with a lot of the teams that we have.
You have some big names on here. You're starting off on Friday, November 9th against UT Arlington at the Accardo Center. Right. And then you head to Berkeley. You're taking on the Cal Bears on November 11th. So that's a good start.
Well, right away. I mean, A lot of people may not know about UT Arlington, but if you follow them, last year they were 15-1 in their conference. They won over 20 games. They've been really good for the last few years. They're going to bring a veteran team in here. And as I've already told our guys, they're not coming here. They're a team that missed the NCAA tournament last year by losing in the championship of their tournament. They won the regular season. So they're not coming here thinking anything about us. And then we've got Cal, who's obviously went to the NCAA tournament last year. It's one of those games that's a guaranteed game for us, but it's a game that I like to play because, again, we're in driving distance. We can take fans up there. It's a team that our players and coaches will be very familiar with, and gives us an opportunity, again, to be on that stage. Right now it's been picked up on the Pac-12 network, so we'll get exposure in those areas that the Pac-12 network is taking. So it just helps our program, and we're looking forward to it. So. And
you've got other teams. South Dakota State, I believe, went to the big dance last year. Who else on your schedule?
UNLV went there, which UNLV came here last year, and we saw what kind of team that they have. And now we're going to their place. And then San Diego State is a team that Coach Fisher has done an unbelievable job of. And that's one of the things people ask, what would you like to see here at Cal State Bakersfield? And I said, if we could do what Steve Fisher has done at San Diego State, but now they've got a new place. They're sold out. The students are very involved, and they're respected and recognized on the West Coast as being one of those up and coming, as we talked about earlier, Gonzaga type teams, and their program is there. They'll be a top 25 team this year, so we'll probably start the season with Cal and San Diego State and UNLV, all three of those teams being in the top 25. So.
And of course, Steve Fisher's remembered for his, he was at the head of Michigan during the Fab Five, which is still a great story.
Oh, it is.
A tragic story in some ways, but it's a great dramatic story. ESPN has a special on the Fab Five looking back on that. That's terrific. Coach, when when you're preparing these kids now, and you're in your second year, and you kind of got a changing lineup, you got some new kids, what does a Rod Barnes team look like? What do you look for in a student athlete?
Well, when you start talking about on the court, I guess we'll start there, because if a guy can't do it athletically, there's no need in looking at his academics. Obviously, you want that to happen, but we're looking for guys that are athletic, because we want to get up and down the court. People like that. Last year, we scored near around 70 points, and I told our guys we got to get to 75 this year. Speed and athleticism, but also I want discipline, that people realize. Want you to be able to come to the game and enjoy the game, not be beating on your head and thinking, what was he thinking about, or what's going on, or these guys are out of control.
You mean discipline on the court or off the court?
Well, both of them, but when I'm talking about on the court now, I'm talking about that there's not antics or guys trying to show other people up, or guys trying to do things that you wouldn't be proud of going back home, or a place that you wouldn't want to bring your kids or grandkids. You would want us to represent our university and our community that way. So our style of ball has to reflect what we want to see off the court also. I think there's a close correlation there. We want to be aggressive. We want to take the fight to people. We want to be exciting. We want to be fun to watch. And if you take that and take it off the court, hey, we want to be aggressive with our academics and what we're trying to do, but we want to be disciplined. We want people to, to say, hey, that's a good young man. He's going to be successful in life. We want to be where, again, whether we own a court or in the community, we want you to be able to, our guys to be approachable.
Sure, right.
Hey!